What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, the big thing going on lately in the news is the whole Afghanistan situation where all the troops have been called back. The Taliban went over there, fucking took over after we've been over there for quite a while. It's just got retarded and ridiculous. The situation would have been different if things would have been handled differently, but it's not. So, but I don't have any comment because it's just dumb. I don't even want to talk about it. But that's the big news going on. I just got done watching actually a couple of seasons. Or not a couple seasons, but a series of shows. I'll try to get to them in later on videos. The first one I want to talk about though is I just got done watching Star Wars Bad Batch. I honestly was not actually going to watch this series, but I said, what the hell, there ain't nothing new in Star Wars coming out lately, so why the hell not. It is based off the Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars series. Now, from what I understand, they only have the first season out. From what I understand from this season, you see this group of like 5 clones and a couple of Clone Wars episodes, but it was really towards the end of the series of Clone Wars. Dave fucking Filoni, can't stand that motherfucker, claims to be a huge Star Wars fan. He loves Star Wars and everything, but he keeps shitting on it constantly. One minute he's for the fans, then he's not. He flip-flops all the fucking time. He's Kennedy's bitch boy. I can't stand this motherfucker. But he helped create the Bad Batch. Now they're basically offshoot of the rest of the clones, an experimental group, supposedly, or squad. They have had certain abilities in each one of them genetically enhanced. That's why the hunter dude, he's better at hunting. One guy's a better sharpshooter, sniper, etc., etc. Anyways, in this series, you have this squad, and it's right at the time of Order 66 or whatever it is when it happens. Now, supposedly, because they were genetically enhanced, the chips don't work so well in them, so most of them don't recognize the Order 66. It doesn't, the chip's not working in them to cause them to follow that order, except for the sniper guy. It really fucks with him, and then he goes off and joins the Empire to hunt him down. Very typical. So instead, they get this little girl named Omega or some shit like that. I can't remember exactly. I think it's Omega, but anyway, they get the little girl, and this little girl's supposed to be a clone like them, But apparently, Dave Filoni and the rest of them that are writing this fucking cartoon series don't base their science on any reality, because even a fucking moron, a 10-year-old, would know that a clone is an exact duplicate or copy of DNA. You cannot change their sex. It's always going to be a male every time. Now you can manipulate the genetic material to advance certain abilities and shit. That's possible. But scientifically, you cannot change the sex of a fucking clone. It's a copy. It's a duplicate. It's a male. You cannot have a female. I'm sorry, it don't work that way. Fucking retards. So this character shouldn't even be in it. She should not exist. Now, it would have been fine if it would have been a male. Why couldn't you do a male? Because you gotta have some kind of feminist push or agenda in the fucking show. Fucking stupid Filoni. I can't stand that motherfucker. He's an idiot. Anyways. So, most of the time, the series is basically about them trying to figure out how to survive without the Empire. Because the Empire turns on them and tries to kill them all. And that's basically the main part of the show. Is the Empire's trying to kill them off because they're off doing mercenary work and on their own now. I'm not a big fan of cartoons. I never have been, except for when I was a little kid. I just don't care for most cartoons. Was the show okay? It was alright. I think it could have been way better. Way better. But it just fell flat for me. It wasn't...
You know who I am? Anything?
It wasn't exciting or great, or it was just, eh. Okay. So, I'm just going to tell you now. You're not going to think this is anything special, so I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Check it out if you want, but it's not really a spectacular show, honestly. Alright, let's move on to your B-movie reviews. Alright, movie holics, moving on to your B-movie reviews, or cult classics. This week is Sci-Fi Week. And we are going back to the 70s this week. The first one is a major classic. It was done in 1977, and it made about 306 worldwide million at the box office. Done by Steven Spielberg, of course. Everybody knows who that is. I wish he'd go back to the way he used to be before fucking, you know, the year 2000. I wish he'd go back the way he was in the 80s. But most of his shit sucks now. Anyways, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This starred Richard Dreyfuss, Terry Garr, and Melinda Dillon. Basically, the story is Richard Dreyfuss. He basically runs across some spaceships or UFOs, however you want to put it. Melinda, her boy seems to attract these spaceships too, out on her farm. Now, after this event of them seeing these spaceships, they're burnt, like they're sunburnt. Next thing you know, they start having these visions of Devil's Peak. I think it's in Wyoming. I think that's where it was. They eventually put it together once they see it on the TV. Because the Army finds Flight 19 and a couple other strange things, and they decide they find this Indian village in India where they hear these sounds coming from the sky from these ships. So they figure it's some type of code, and they work out some type of way to talk to them, to the aliens, and they set up a meeting in Wyoming at Devil's Peak. Now, for half the movie, Dreyfuss's family thinks he's going crazy because he keeps spacing off about this fucking vision, these visions of the Devil's Peak he's having, but he don't know what it is that he keeps seeing. He's making a big statue in the fucking front room and all that shit. So Terry Garr, who plays his wife, takes the kids and leaves. He figures out where he's going. He goes there. Now Melinda goes there too, because halfway through the movie they take her son, the aliens do. So she's chasing him down, but she's been having the visions too. She figures it out too. They eventually get there, and then the military and the aliens, they have this big WAPA meeting with these fucking this musical rhyme notes, a series of notes. It's supposed to be some kind of code. And then eventually the aliens return a bunch of people that they had taken over the years, for many years. They pretty much dropped them off, brought him home, including Melinda's son. She grabs him, takes off with him. But they looked like they were doing some type of exchange program, but they ex-nayed all the people the military chose, and they grabbed Richard Dreyfuss and they set him up for it, and he goes on the ship. It's the only person the aliens want. They wanted those that they had given the vision to. Richard Dreyfuss was basically the only one they saw there, and they took him, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. This UFO flies off. You're with him in it. Now, there is a version where they have a scene that they cut out where Richard Dreyfuss goes into the spaceship and you get to see the inside of the spaceship, but they cut that out in theatrical release, which I don't understand, because it's actually a really good scene. I like that it's in there. Some people don't, but I do. I thought it was neat looking. Great acting. The acting's definitely a solid 4. It's really great acting. You have some really great actors in this movie. Special effects, of course, it's Steven Spielberg, so it's definitely a solid 4 on the special effects. The story The story was a really good story. Again, another 4. Overall, this movie gets you almost get a 5 on this movie. This movie was a solid 4. It was really good. Definitely 2 thumbs up. If you're into sci-fi, this is definitely a movie you should check out. Alright, moving on to the second one. Now the second one was done in 1972. And it starred Bruce Dean and Cliff Potts. I couldn't find any box office numbers on this because supposedly it flopped really bad when it first came out. It has since developed a kind of a cult following, which I don't really understand honestly, but okay. It's rated one of the top sci-fi films of the 70s, but there wasn't a whole lot of sci-fi films in the 70s anyway, so not majorly anyway, so but whatever. And it's called Silent Running. Now the story is basically this guy, he's on one of 3 ships that have been shipped off from Earth. It's a dystopia Earth, like way in the future. They've done away with like forest and shit like that. On these ships are several sections, dome-like sections of the last remaining forest from Earth. Earth no longer has forest on it. Everything's silicon or artificial. Basically, they give the order to get rid of him, destroy him. They're going ahead and just get rid of him, screw it, bring the boys back home on the ships. He starts off with the crew. There's 4 of them on each ship. However, he ends up killing the other 3 guys that's on his ship because he wants to save the forest. They basically shoot off and destroy most of the domes except for this one dome. Now he has 3 little robots he calls drones. They're like little box robots with like an extended arm thing and a couple wobbly legs on them. Kind of dumb looking. But it's drone 1, 2, and 3. These are his companions. It makes it look like he tells the other 2 ships that they're trying to help him get home, and he says there's a malfunction on the ship, so they're all like thinking he's gonna die, so they give him God bless you, blah blah blah. Well, he's actually nuts. The dude's nuts. He's a fucking nut job. He's whacked out. He's getting even crazier the longer he's on the ship by himself. He loses one of the drones. He damages another drone. It no longer functions properly, and then he starts calling him Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And he takes the last drone. He teaches him how to fucking take care of the forest, and he shoots off the forest out into space, so the drone can take care of it forever. How long? It's the last forest on Earth, of Earth. Anyways, he blows up the ship at the end with him and the dysfunctional drone, and that's literally the end of the movie. I mean, it's kind of retarded. I don't know. It wasn't like boring. It was flat. Like there's no action in this. Don't think just because science fiction doesn't have action or something like that doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just the story was boring. It was flat, and this was done in the 70s, early 70s. So whoever decided to do this movie was very eco-friendly, environmental friendly. You know, that back then when they were doing the whole "let's save the forest" kind of bullshit. Uh, I agree. We need to be careful about killing off all the forests, but you know there are those type of activists, that environmental activists, that take it a little bit too far. And you basically could feel that in this movie. This whoever was doing this was one of those environmental activist type people. You know, what we gonna do when all the forests are gone, kind of shit, blah blah blah. But anyways, it fell flat for me. The acting, the acting was a solid 3. You had some decent acting in this movie. Bruce Dean did pretty good. The story was dumb. I give it a 2 because it kind of sucked. It wasn't a very good story. Special effects were okay. They were decent enough. I give it a -3. Overall, this movie, it gets a -3. It just wasn't all that great. Somehow it's gained a cult following. I don't understand how, because it wasn't a good movie all that much. Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't. It was enough for a one-time watch, and that's about it. I give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Unless you're a hardcore sci-fi fan, you're not going to want to watch this movie. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. If you have any thoughts on what I said earlier in this video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you know of any movies you think I may never have seen, or some underrated movies, please leave your suggestions down in the comments down below, and I will get to them as soon as I can. Reviewing them. Until next time, I told you to be told the truth, and you've just been told.